I know a lot of eyebrows certainly were raised when President Trump extended the invitation to the Board of Peace to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Personally, when I think of Putin, I don't exactly think of world peace. The two aren't exactly synonymous. But President Trump said that some controversial people were on the board that were invited, and these people are people who get the job done. But when you're thinking of this war raging on in Ukraine, thanks to Putin for almost 4 years now, he hasn't really inched that much closer to a peace deal. Do you think that this invitation here is going to get him closer to reaching that peace deal with Zelensky? What do you make of his invitation here to this board?
Look, I don't think so. I think any U.S.-led initiative he is likely to oppose, right? And so what we're potentially doing here is inviting the fox into the hen house, or the skunk at the picnic, or however you want to describe it. I think there's a good chance that he scuttles, any effort to try to solve the Ukraine problem outside. I mean, we're already trying to do this in a bilateral way, in a multilateral way, working through the UN, and he has just rebuffed every advance so far. So I don't see the Board of Peace being particularly more useful to have if he's included. I'm not sure I see the logic of it. I would note, though, that, I don't think that he's a problem necessarily as it relates to the Gaza conflict. Putin has a professional relationship with the Israelis. He sees himself as kind of a godfather to roughly 10% of the Israeli population that is of Russian descent. He could potentially play a positive role. I don't want to overstate this because, again, any U.S.-led initiative, I often see him try to tear down and undermine, and he may try to do the same with Gaza. That would be obviously a major disappointment. The one thing that I would note, though, about this board that has me worried as it relates to Gaza, and I think it's important to flag this here, we have two Hamas patrons that have been invited to join this board. I'm speaking here about the countries of Turkey and Qatar. They were financiers of Hamas before the October 7th war broke out. They continue to host Hamas operatives on their soil to this day. They treat them with respect. They roll out the red carpet. This is not a good thing, right? And so putting Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, on the same board with two Hamas supporting patrons, state sponsors of terror, if we're going to be precise about it, the odds of everybody coming to some sort of kumbaya moment in Gaza with this makeup, I've got concerns there too. So, I think if you try to broaden this out, the Board of Peace is interesting. It's an alternative potentially to the UN, or a forcing mechanism to prod the UN to do more. Maybe it's an alternative, or again, a prodding mechanism for NATO or for the G20 or for the World Bank. I mean, there's any number of groups that this entity could influence or support. But at the same time, when you look at some of the people that have signed on to this or that have been invited, we've got real concerns. So I think Donald Trump's going to have to begin to settle some of these scores, make it clear what the role is of some of these controversial countries, and maybe also make it clear exactly what the mandate of this organization is going to be. I understand that this man likes to have maximum flexibility with all of his foreign policies, and I think he works best that way. But I do think there are some lingering questions that do need to be answered.